Hi, Mr. Forbes. So today I will present to you my Access project on my company, Top Cheese. For Access, I chose to present on Module 8 and Module 10. Module 8 is about macros, navigation forms, and control layouts. So in Module 8 of Access, we learn how to use macros, how to create navigation forms, and use control layouts. For instance, we assign macros to command buttons, allowing us to create a user-friendly interface. However, we only glance at the tip of the macro iceberg. What I'm saying by saying this is that just as an iceberg, we saw a little part of using the macros in Access. And as we know, an iceberg is, we see 5% of the iceberg beyond the surface, and under the surface is about 95%. So really, we could go a lot more in depth with macros, but it is a great base to have just to begin with. I believe that macros are of essential use in the business world, and here is why. In the business world, we say that time is money. The macros' main functions are to facilitate and automate diverse business tasks. Thus, they are time-saving, meaning that they save money for businesses. In fact, when you are a well-known business that receives and needs to gather a large amount of data for whatever reason, Access is your best friend for doing so. For instance, in this module, we use a navigation form to go quickly from one form to another. On a final note, Module 8 can be used in a business environment when you want to save time gathering data and when you want to show multiple forms at the same time in a simple navigation form. So I'll show you what I did in my Access. Just before I go to my Access, I just wanted to show you that you can click on the Access icon and you will have access to this document. So what I did here, close all my other tabs, is an order distribution. So this is the navigation form. You can go through multiple forms just in a simple form. That's great about it. It is user-friendly. You can see the titles of your forms. Really easy to go through it if you don't want your boss spending a lot of time just searching in the bar, or if you have a lot of documents. It is much easier to read from left to right than from top to bottom. So I've also used the macros here. This is also a really simple way of showing your forms. So your forms or reports. So here you can see that I've created a macro. When you click on Open Curve Distribution, it opens the curve distribution. What curve distribution? I've put a lot of distribution. It's just about the hockey sticks. The curve distribution shows me the distributions of orders between all of the curves I've offered. It's just a simple thing I did, and nothing really important. So I can open the flex distribution. It's a great tool. You can see my macro here. It was, oh, this is to open distribution. If I'll go in design view, they are all macros that opens my form in a read-only view. So no one can really mess with them, which is a great thing to have. Next, I'm talking about the module 10. The module 10, we're using SQL. In chapter 10, we learn how to use the SQL language, how to use it in multiple ways. First, SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It is important to know this language since every database management system, that I will call later on DBMS, use this universal language. Meaning that by learning SQL, you can manage other systems that are in the same fashion as Access, such as Oracle, SQL servers, and a lot more database management systems. We learned in this chapter how to create SQL queries, include fields, include simple and compound and criteria, use computed fields and built-in functions, use aggregate functions, group results, join tables, use subqueries, use insert, update, and delete queries, and all of this just by using the SQL language. So people could say that we've already learned this stuff in previous chapters, and we did. I think it was last year, but we used a design view, the query design view, to create these queries. However, the big difference is that we learn how to do that stuff not only with Access, but with all of the other database management systems. that already exists, since they all use the SQL function. So thus, if you get a new job as an administrator of a database management system other than Access, you can still use this knowledge that you've learned um, about SQL on the other system, since in the final, they just all use the same language. So, and finally, we learned how to link tables to outside data sources, which is a great tool to know and to use. Really, I think it was the best thing that we could have learned in Access. It is very time saving. It is a great tool. It automates your data input in one file to another, from one data source to another. Really, it is a great tool. I'll show you right here what I did. So as for my queries, it was really simple. If we go in queries, I've organized all of my curves, my orders by curves. So here we can see there's no one that ordered P14 curves, P15 curves, P20 curves, P28. There's Brett Kulak who's ordered a curve. So here, if I wanted to target people who bought my P20 curves or just want to send them a message, maybe there's a warranty extent, or maybe there's just a simple uh, manufacturer break, or I don't know, really anything. I have their phone number, their email address, and really I'll show you here. I've selected the client info table, the first name, client info, the client info last name, client info phone, client info email address, info curve from the client info. I could have erased this, but however, it does work. I think it's Access. We did this automatically. Then where client info, the curve, I want in that table client info the people who ordered curve P28. So it is just for a marketing campaign, or just to target some people, to send a message to a certain group of people. The SQL language is very easy to use, very practical. It is a volatile tool. Really, it is a great tool to use. And then I'll show you my client info. This is a great tool, since when I'm at my client info tab comes from my Excel form from the Excel test. When you're creating a report or creating an order, it goes into my hidden worksheet where I've gathered all of the data. And then what is great about it is that when someone new or a new client just fill in the form, it goes directly in my hidden sheet, which is um, automated, or it is linked with this table, my client info table in Access. So Excel, which is better to use when creating reports than Access, since you have a lot more of diversity and a lot more you can do a lot more with Excel than Access. You can design your report with Excel, gather some data with Excel in an edited worksheet, and then you just have to link your worksheet to an Access table, which is linked to all of your other tables. So I've also did here I have all of the client's personal info from one client to another right here. It is user friendly. I think it's great. And if I want to know maybe Guillaume Plante, Fred Kulak, what was his order? I know that it's left-handed, 95 flex, as a low kick, and he wants a P28 curve. So it is just a simple thing with macros and command buttons that I've used. Really time saving, great tool. Nothing more to say about it. So I think that wraps it up. As I said earlier, you can have access to my Access document right here. Thank you and have a great day.